Glabo.
We're back in the building.
We
Round
back,
two.
we back.
Let's go. Hey, the chat was saying they missed the black guy in the corner freestyle, bro.
They said they missed what?
They missed the black corner in the black
Man,
guy
they
in the
didn't
corner
say that.
freestyle. I saw it in the comments last episode. They like that song, bro.
Man, I started playing that song, the full verse at the end of the videos.
Okay,
I
got you.
started playing the full verse. I had to finally get like an edited one.
Got you. Nah, they was rocking with it.
On there. But shout out to everybody, man. As y'all are tapping in, make sure that you like, subscribe. Y'all got two black guys in the corner, as BK just texted me and said that people want it. So yeah, and we're looking forward to tomorrow to having Unk and maybe even a couple of others. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, we're definitely excited to jump on with y'all. We got a lot to discuss. We're gonna get into this Tucker Carlson. I mean, I only need the music in the beginning. All right, the first 5 seconds. But we're going to discuss some Tucker Carlson videos, some Candace Owens videos. The Civil War continues, and I think we may even start off with a video that Joe Rogan was discussing how there's a civil war going on in this country. Do y'all believe there is? Do y'all believe there isn't? We're gonna go over. So let me make sure that we got everybody tapping in the building. Yo, we got a little Drew in the building.
Bro,
Drew, my bad.
Yo, it's been a minute.
Building. Morning, family. Y'all stay up blessed, man. If y'all only knew, man. Andrew been rocking with us since we were at William & Mary. He's probably about 8 years old, rocking with us, coming to our practices, member of the team, man. Shout out to you, brother. Shout out to Finn, tapping in early morning from a very wet, dismal England. Hoping you guys in the sunshine can bring that sunshine energy today. It's a little overcast. I'm back up in Jersey, so it's a little overcast over here. And then we had, of course, the Misinformed Pod. shout out, show some love. So that's always love. Shout out to Unk in the building, Grand Rising. Good morning, everyone. I hope this week has been prosperous to you and generous to you. Please remember to like and subscribe. Now is the perfect time to invite your friend. Yes, Unk, thanks for reminding us of that. Take some time, maybe. Not only like, but share. Share this with your people. We got some good conversations, some necessary conversations and videos that we're going to get into. There's one video that I actually didn't show you because I was watching it a little bit earlier this morning.
Oh, okay.
Amalex. I'm not sure exactly how you pronounce it. But if I can find that video, we're definitely going to tap into that. I think it sets the tone on a lot of what we see going on between Israel and Palestine right now. So hopefully we can use that to create some solutions to these issues that we have. Get your housekeeping done early and hit the like button. Get it out the way, man. Get it out the way. Shout out to Big Bro Steve in the building. Good morning to all. A great day is in progress. That is a fact. Oh, BK. That's funny.
It's been a minute.
That is funny, yo. That is a funny excitement. Dope, man. Carabas, that's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, the old stomping grounds.
Shout out to Ant in the building. Oh yeah, and Ant, you sent the message the other day. I meant to text you afterwards, but yeah, we Monday through Friday because I think on Tuesday you sent the text or sent the message saying like, "Yo, we on a Tuesday." My apologies. You should definitely been one of the people that we were letting know. Ant's been tapping in since the beginning of the show, so shout out to Ant. Good to see you here bright and early. Well, good morning, Grand Rising, everyone. Late today, you never late, baby. You on time, baby. Late today, beautiful morning. Had to get my run on. How many miles did you put in, Critical? How many miles did you put in? All right, so like. We'll try to get a few more people in the building. Why they keep draining our numbers? Interesting. All right, so we're gonna start the convo. I actually want to circle back to something. And BK, maybe you can give your opinion on this. But sure. I saw this clip about something that we discussed yesterday, and I almost wish that we would have waited, but it still holds the same amount of relevance. So let me share this screen. This is Donald Trump discussing these H-1B visas previously rather than to just that interview. These were his thoughts. So let me make sure this is shared. And let's, I like that a little better. Here we go.
Well, first of all, I think, and I know the H-1B very well, and it's something that I frankly use, and I shouldn't be allowed to use. We shouldn't have it. Very, very bad for workers. And second of all, I think it's very important to say, well, I'm a businessman, and I have to do what I have to do, and it's sitting there waiting for you, but it's very bad. It's very bad for business in terms of, it's very bad for our workers, and it's unfair for our workers, and we should end it.
Now, for those that didn't tap in yesterday, so if you did tap in yesterday, bear with me. We're not going to spend too much time on this because we did discuss it yesterday. However, we did not have that video for context. This, to me, just symbolizes. Now, BK, did you see that? I'm going to play the video from yesterday that we played, and then you tell me what your thoughts are. I'm just going to shut up because I already kind of gave my thoughts a little bit, but I'm interested to know, just when you hear both, what comes to mind for you. All right, so let's
talk about it.
And does that mean the H-1B visa thing will not be a big priority for your administration? Because if you want to raise wages for American workers, you can't flood the country with tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of foreign workers.
You also do have to bring in talent. When
we have plenty of talented people here.
No, you don't.
We don't have talented people here.
No, you don't have certain talents, and people have to learn. You can't take people off an unemployment line and say, I'm going to put you into a factory where we're going to make missiles, or I'm going to put you.
How did we ever do it before?
Well, I'll give you an example. In Georgia, they raided because they wanted illegal immigrants out. They had people from South Korea that made batteries all their lives. You know.
All right, I think we get the gist of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He had a certain energy at one point, switched it up, seems like. But what are your thoughts when you hear that?
I mean, he kind of looked like he's kind of eating the words that he once said in the past. The energy's definitely switched up considering where he's at. It makes
he's a politician now, bro.
Yeah, it just makes it just like continue. You know, when it comes into these politics, it just continues to show you how, based on what the agenda is, based on what the initiative is, based on wherever that person's stance is on that particular day, will determine what they're saying. And it's just so unfortunate to witness this in 4K, where we can see an individual stand on something that they said so passionately at the time. I mean, regardless of whose feet he might have been undercutting, regardless of what person felt attacked at that moment, make a transition, a polarizing perspective now, but never address that there was a transition in the interim. And so I don't mind people changing their perspective. I mean, we should all be allowed to get more information, receive more information, see another perspective. But it does bother me when we don't want to communicate about how or why we got to the change that we are now. And I think that's the part that makes politicians seem as if they are, you know, always manipulating or always going wherever the dollar sign is that there is no level of transparency in the transition. And if there is, I'm open to seeing that clip. But until otherwise, I think he's falling right in line exactly where most politicians are, where based on what the initiative is at the time in the moment is where they're going to be at.
I agree. And this is what people fell in love with. The first Trump, the one that would talk about, yeah, we got to figure out these taxes. Well, I'm not paying taxes. You guys made the rules. I'm going to figure out how to, you know, it's the Donald Trump that has no problem exposing himself as he exposes the problems with America, saying like, yeah, I take advantage of this H-1B visas. I shouldn't, but, you know, I'm a business person. But even when he mentions, you know, as a business, you keep hearing these things like, oh, it's just business. It's business. He said this recently, even in the interview with Lauren Ingram. So it seems like this business is just used as an excuse to compromise morals. So now we have this back and forth between, you know, a Tucker Carlson, a Candace Owens, a Dave Smith, all these people that may have voted for Trump based on their principles, based on their morals, based on them seeing where the country's moving in a direction as far as the cultural issues that we're going through, as well as not prioritizing American citizens. So now we're in this position where we see Trump, the one guy that we thought wouldn't cave to the pressure, and it's just demoralizing. It's like, damn, Trump did it. Like there's a part of it still doesn't even want to believe that Trump is being bullied and manipulated, but it is. He's being controlled. Like you just gave us the game, and now you're trying to act as if you didn't just tell us like it's some BS, it hurts Americans, it's unfair, Americans can't compete. And now you're like, y'all aren't talented enough.
Yeah, no, you're completely spot on. I do, and I, as you're telling us this, it's like you're right. Like that is the thing that I think that Trump did so well, that was so polarizing, is that he was willing to call out, address that bluntness, that aggressiveness, that condescending tone that we've never seen politicians take, that position or that perspective, to not be jaded or where the dollar is, or like he doesn't need your street cred, he doesn't need your acceptance. He's willing to go tooth and nail with whoever is at the table. And then just to now start to see the backtracking in real time, it's just like, Trump, you were the first person we saw go into politics and not necessarily put on the outfit of being a politician. And now look what we're seeing a couple of years down the road.
Even when we were against you, because there's even like
a
conversation where it's like, I ain't messing with Trump, because I started off when I was messing with him, but there was something about him that I still appreciated, like just his direct way of communicating, not sugarcoating. That was refreshing. But now we see this, and it's just like that. To me, that's the scariest part, because it shows that everything that used to be considered a conspiracy theory, where the president's not in control, like there's other people that are just, controlling the puppet strings. Yes, that is a fact. I don't think that is disputable right now. I don't think anybody can argue against that. We are seeing it. It is happening. Everybody is bought and paid for. Follow the money of who's donating to these politicians, then everything seems to make sense from there. So I want to move on to this video. I want to move on to this video, 2 videos, and the second video we're not going to watch as much of it because it's like an 11-minute video. But this is the story of Amalek. So when the whole situation on October 7th happened, there were some Israeli officials that referenced, you must remember Amalek. I had no idea what Amalek was. So apparently it's a story in the Bible. This is the first tribe that ever attacked Israel. So here you have Benjamin Netanyahu, other Israeli officials, I believe as well, referencing Amalek when it comes to the Palestinians. And the more I learned about the story, the more all of this made sense. This genocide, them trying to completely wipe out the Palestinian people. It all makes sense, especially when you have a prime minister of the country that's already been showing that he's looking to get us in wars, looking to take people's land, looking to create this greater Israel project with this clean break memo strategy, getting involved in all these confrontations with countries in the region. It all makes sense when it comes to this. One, Israel is scared. They're scared that their existence is going to be wiped away. That seems to be the culture of how they justify moving through life in various areas, why they're so united. Let me just play the video, get into the story of Amalek, and then you guys let me know your thoughts as far as if this makes sense based on what we see happening with the Palestinian people. Now, obviously, you're going to have to read the captions. If you can't look at your computer, just understand that they're referencing Amalek.
זכור את אשר עשה לך עמלק נצטווינו. אנו זוכרים ואנו נלחמים.
אין חצי עבודה. רפיח, דיר אל בלח, מוצרת, השמדה מוחלטת, תמחה את זכר עמלק מתחת השמיים. אין מקום מתחת לשמיים.
ובסימן חג הפסח לומר שאנחנו צריכים להכות באויב 10 מכות, למחות את זכר עמלק, כמו שכתוב.
אשתי יקרה שרה, מוכנה יהיה פיצוץ גדול. למחות את זכר עמלק! אני בא למחות, ולמזבלה לא תגררות, ומצווח הדבר, למחות את זכר עמלק.
Your good friend.
Save that one for later. I'm going to play the second video, but I want to just give a little context leading into it. So the story of Amalek, the more that I learned about it, it pretty much is being used to justify to Israeli soldiers, to justify to the world, perhaps a lot of Americans and Israeli citizens, that it's okay to wipe out a group of people for having a confrontation with their parents. We got to wipe out the kids. You got to wipe out the dogs, the cats. Literally, it's talking about that in the Bible. So this is obviously Old Testament. I want us to get into this video a little bit. Like I said, we're not going to watch too much of it. It's a 12-minute video, but probably just try to let it play for you all to just give some context on how extreme, and I'm using air quotes, but it's extreme to me. I guess everybody can determine what's extreme for them, but let's get into it.
He was the first, and more than that, Amalek was not just another enemy of Israel, he was the first. And more than that, he represents the spirit of the Antichrist in the Old Testament. But where did he come from? Why did God curse him forever? And how did his lineage almost exterminate the Jews centuries later? In this video, we're going to show you the truth behind the Amalekite people, from their cursed origin to their final attempt to erase God's people from history. Get ready to understand why Amalek is not just a biblical character, but a prophetic model of spiritual warfare that still threatens us today. Genesis 36:12 reveals a lineage almost forgotten by most readers. And Timnah was concubine to Eliphaz, Esau's son, and she bare to Eliphaz Amalek. But why does the Bible make a point to preserve this name? The answer is surprising. Amalek was the grandson of Esau, the man who despised his birthright, rejected God's promise, and sold his spiritual blessing for a bowl of food. And more than that, Amalek wasn't born of a wife, but of a concubine. Do you realize what this means? He carried from birth the mark of rejection, of disdain for the covenant, and of spiritual marginalization. He didn't just come from outside the promise. He was born against it. This detail, often ignored, is essential to understand the spirit that dominated the Amalekites, a bitter, resentful spirit determined to destroy everything that represented the blessing of God. The spirit of Amalek is the spirit of the Antichrist of the Old Testament. He doesn't attack out of necessity. He attacks out of hatred. Fascinating, isn't it? This people didn't just want to win battles. They wanted to erase the name of Israel from the earth. And this becomes clear when they become the first enemies of Israel after the Exodus. And not just in any way, but from behind, attacking the weakest, as revealed in Deuteronomy 25:17-19.
I want to stop it right there real quick, because I don't know if this is something that you notice when it comes to this conflict, but the justification seems to always be, these people are trying to destroy us and wipe us off. So we're justified in doing and going to whatever extreme measures to wipe them out. Like they're trying to convince us that because Hamas did something, that all Palestinians need to be wiped out. Like it's a very, it's a brutal way of looking at things. It's collective punishment that, in my opinion, are not religious or not spiritual, not godly. Definitely religious, but not godly, in my opinion. But let's keep going. You got anything now? You want me to just press keep going?
Yeah, keep going.
19. Now think about this. Israel after the Exodus, and not just in any way, but from behind, attacking the weakest, as revealed in Deuteronomy 25:17-19. Now think about this. Why attack specifically those at the rear? Women, children, the elderly, the wounded, exactly those who couldn't defend themselves. It was more than cruelty. It was a wicked attempt to destroy hope before it could reach its destination. This is the mark of a cursed people. It was spiritual warfare disguised as a military attack. It was persecution against the delivered. It was the spirit of Amalek trying to prevent the fulfillment of God's promise. And the most shocking part? This lineage, the Amalekite genealogy, appears again and again throughout biblical history, always as an obstacle to the people of the promise. They are the enemies of the covenant. They rise when Israel is about to advance. Coincidence? Not at all. The biblical story is a prophetic mirror, and Amalek is there from the beginning as the shadow of the Antichrist, as a reminder that there are forces that hate what God loves. Do you grasp the depth of these words?
This is, I don't, yes, I do grasp the depth of those words. It's like when you just hear that sentence, hold on. Listen to this sentence again, hold on.
Is a prophetic mirror, and Amalek is there from the beginning as the shadow of the Antichrist, as a reminder that there are forces that hate what God loves. Do you grasp the depth of these words?
There are forces that hate what God's love. All of this stuff is entitlement. This is what makes me look at religion the way that I look at it. Like, yo, you just wrote a book. It's like you got two different teams playing against each other. It's like the Giants and the Cowboys about to play against each other, and the Giants are putting out their press release. Obviously, they're going to speak favorably about the Giants, and they're going to speak. You know what I mean? It's like the fact that people have this level of immaturity when it comes to establishing a relationship with God and allowing religion to completely justify them going against all of their commandments. Thou shalt not kill. All these. This is a very juvenile way of looking at things, and it creates a lot of death and destruction throughout the. It's like, oh, Amalek is a spirit that threatens everything that God loves. So God doesn't love Amalek. God just loves Israel. And this is how it's justified. So then when you have evil villains like Bibi Netanyahu who are willing to use any and everything to justify why they're doing what they're doing, to embrace this tribalism, to embrace, you know what, it's better off to God's people, God's chosen people, if the Palestinians are no longer on this planet. That's what's happening right in front of our face. And in a lot of ways, because in America, I think that we haven't experienced war, our generation at least, the way that a lot of others have, and maybe even the baby boomers haven't experienced it like that, where I don't think we can truly grasp the evil that's taking place over there that we're allowing, supporting, being complicit of. And it's just a nasty feeling, bro. It's a nasty feeling. But my fault. I didn't mean to ramble on.
No. I mean, yeah, it's. I think it's very eye-opening, as we continue to get older and to get more positions into our thoughts, and just understanding kind of how the world is made, the people that are in charge, things and traditions that we've never challenged or even thought of, and why we believe what we believe in. And so as you get older and you start understanding more of a moral compass, for the most part, for some of us, you start having these type of conversations that are challenging and just really, asking why. And then you start kind of positioning yourself to understand, man, the ignorance allows people to somewhat just fall right into a belief and never question why they believe what they believe. And it's gone to such an extreme extent. And it's interesting that this stuff that seems so intricate, it seems so thought out, this plan doesn't seem like it was just made overnight, but if it's existed for so long. And it's just so wild to me that when we bring up these topics of religion and things of that nature from different parts of the world, how it's just been utilized in a space to really take power in really just justify certain behaviors that go against just our moral compass, humanity, just the way that we feel. There's nobody that I can personally say, unless humans are made differently, but there's nobody that I think can confidently take another life and not feel a type of way about it. Now, the response to that feeling is going to be different across the board, but it's just so wild and interesting to seeing that some religions are even based into that, and just seeing the different things that we see on the day-to-day basis. And it's almost like it's so difficult for people to challenge it. And where would we be without social media even calling this stuff out? Because I think there was one point, like you said, the older generation here, there was a point in time where How did you spread the word about these topics? How did you get more information about what's going on? Like I love that social media can now bring more light to these spaces and continue to shine a light in areas that are dark, and we're no longer can stand just behaviors like this, and just be religion can't win when there's truth and honesty in the same room. And so as we continue to have these topics and conversation, I think more and more people are going to challenge what has always been a tradition and start kind of peeling these layers back and forcing either religion to conform and change into what it should have been day one, or it's got to get the hell out the room to begin with.
Yeah, that's a fact. And you mentioned something about, there's no way that somebody could take a life and then not impact them. And that's a great point. A lot of people think that, just the only person that's impacted by doing evil are the people that experience the evil. No, that's demonic forces that are taking over your spirit, your mind, all these different things. And to me, this is why they have to brainwash us so much. This is why Bibi Netanyahu finds it so important to control the propaganda, whether it's on these social platforms or anything else. He has to convince, no different than how we talk about, like, let's say the Charlie Kirk assassination, how they're saying that this person, Tyler Robinson, and a lot of others, they get radicalized, right? They get brainwashed into thinking that they're doing, when you call Donald Trump Hitler and you say he's a Nazi, and then you got somebody trying to take a shot at him, well, they think they're doing something heroic because they've been taught something a certain way. It's no different than if your parents brought you up, or my parents brought us up, to think that, hey, this was what this family across the street did to our family for years and years and years. We have this beef. You don't care about that family's perspective. You only hear it from your family's. Therefore, you'll justify doing certain things to that group that you would never allow being done to you, and that you probably wouldn't even do to another group if it wasn't, if you didn't have the buildup and propaganda that your family already gave you.
Yeah, I mean, it's so interesting. Like as you brought that example up, it's like, I think predominantly, especially growing up in the South, like things here are just obviously so segregated, and there are blocks, there are hoods, there are certain areas that don't mess with other areas, there's certain turfs that don't relate to other turfs. And I've always looked at that as being something that is predominantly seen in the Black environment. And then now I'm growing older and I'm like, hold up, y'all do the same thing in other cultures. It's just in a different way, in a different place. Y'all got the same issues, the same turf wars, the same, we don't fuck with that block. I'm like, y'all do it too. It's like, it's something that exists, it looks like, in all cultures. And it's just, when you don't have that initiative, or that if you don't have that propaganda that is making it seem as if it only exists in our environment, then it makes you believe and start to kind of conceptualize that we have a different outlook than other people. When I'm starting to realize there are so much more similarities when it comes to this type of stuff in all cultures, unbelievable as you continue to learn more.
It's just gang. This is just gang warfare.
This gang war. This is Crips.
And it's so funny because we grew up looking at the black on black crime. Like look at these ignorant kids. They fight.
Absolutely.
Nobody's family even owns a home on the block. Y'all all renting. It ain't none of y'all. We look at it like that.
Yes.
But then when you look at a lot of these other things happening to us, it's like, even when I read different stories from the Bible, I'm like, wait, hold up, like.
This the same shit.
Y'all are entitled to some land because it said it in a book 3,000 years ago. Like, it's insane.
It's the same shit.
It's the same thing. And look at so on here, I brought up a few of the Bible verses, and this is another problem that I have when it comes to these religions. Like, people pick and choose. It's like, don't you have a duty and responsibility to be aware of what you're worshiping and what you're promoting? It's no different than if I was promoting something, or if I had or let's say that we had a brand that we were working with, right? Or we had something that represented the OG network, and we stood on it, we promoted it, but it also supported something that we all deem as a terrible thing. Let's say that, whatever it may be, I don't even want to use any examples. we would be held responsible for that. It's like, yo, y'all are promoting somebody or something that doesn't align with, the morals and principles y'all say y'all represent.
Right.
Accountable for that. So why is it when it comes to when you're pledging your life to something, when you're accepting something as your Lord and Savior, when you're dedicating and promoting this book, why is it that you're not aware of all of the evil things that are in it? Because if you're not aware of all the evil things in it, then how are you? It's like, no wonder it's so easy to get manipulated. I'll Christians, and I'll bring up some of these things that are in the Old Testament, and they'll look at me with the stale face, acting like, well, where is that? It's like, well, when you go to church and your pastor picks and chooses it's like your salesperson. It's like going to buy a car, and your salesperson is only going to tell you the great things about the car. They're not going to tell you it's terrible on gas. They're not going to tell you that there was a recall. They're not going to tell you that they had all these different issues. It's the same thing with this. Look at some of these scriptures. Exodus describes the first battle where the Amalekites attacked Israel. Okay, we already went over that. So look at Deuteronomy. And this is where the command that Bibi Netanyahu and a lot of these Israeli officials are referencing. A command for Israel to remember what Amalek did to you and to blot out the name of Amalek from under heaven. Could you replace that with Palestine? Well, replace this one with Hamas, and then replace this one with Palestinians or Palestine. You get what I'm saying? It's like, and let's keep going. So apparently God told King Saul to punish the Amalekites for what they did to Israel by completely destroying them, both man and woman, child and infant, oxen, sheep, camel, and donkey. Damn, God. That's and I'm using the little g God, because that's not any God that I think should be worshipped. Somebody who's saying these things. I don't want to hear about God adjusting to the days and times of men. No, God is not supposed to adjust to the days and times of men. God is supposed to lead us to being better, more elevated, more advanced, achieving this greater peace. So just because somebody writes it in the book and uses the big G with God does not mean that we should just be silly and go along with it and accept everything in that book, especially when we understand the creation of it, how it was put together. A bunch of different books just compiled by politicians and other people that were influencers. It's like, could you imagine if Bibi Netanyahu decided to put together a group of books that were going to represent his vision in establishing the greater Israel?
You can only imagine, right?
Yeah. So it's all right. I think we wore that topic out a little bit. I was gonna play more of the video, but I don't think we need to. I think we're good.
Yeah, I mean, it's so interesting to see, like, for what we have seen Trump, give or take, whether or not you agree with him or disagree with him, people have gone out their way to hold him accountable, like we did even at the beginning of this pod, and found things that were contradicting and held him liable to the things that he said. But for some reason, when we walk into the space of religion, we do not question any of the morals, question any of the things that were said in the past, and we make up the excuses of why the opinion changed without ever having a conversation of how we got there to begin with. So it's so interesting that everybody puts their sword down when it's religion, but everybody wants to pull their sword out when it's Trump.
Bro, I agree 100%. I agree 100%. It's like there should be nothing above question. Like when there's something that was written by man and influenced and rewritten by man, and you're not allowed to question that is a problem.
Yeah.
That is a problem. Anything that we should be able to question anything. And if it's real, then when we do our research, we'll double down and say, you know what? I believe in this even more because I did do my due diligence and research on it.
Yeah.
That's just not the world that we're living in. We're living in a control. Everything is about control.
Yeah, very conditional. The truth should always be able to stand regardless who walks in the room.
100%. So let me I'm going to go to this video of Tucker. Actually, I believe he's discussing certain aspects of what we just saw. Let me see if I can fast forward this. All right. Take a look at this. The timestamp may be a little bit off, but bear with me.
Listen to other people. Don't treat them like cattle. Treat them like human beings. And finally, the last lesson to learn from all of this is that there is no Amalek. Deuteronomy describes a tribe that is beyond redemption and must be killed, period, because they have blood guilt. Their DNA, as Mark Levin explained on Twitter, makes them evil, and they must be destroyed, every one of them. Not just the fighting age men, but their wives and their kids and their parents all must be killed, because we're not just killing a foreign army, we're killing a strain of genetics, because that's where the sin comes from, their genetics. We do not acknowledge that. We cannot allow that attitude. That will wind up like Rwanda right away, like quickly in our lifetimes. We will see mass killing if we don't get that attitude under control. It's the attitude that animated the Nazis. It's the attitude that really is behind all mass slaughter in history, and we can't have it in the West, period. So once you accept that, then you also have to acknowledge that there are no permanent enemies, that we disagree with people. We may violently disagree, passionately disagree. I hate what you're saying. But we owe, and this is a Christian imperative as well, but also it's like a prerequisite for continuing to exist. You have to acknowledge and say out loud that if people change, or if you change, because we all do change, and when we're under pressure, we change much more quickly. All of us are changing right now. It's imperceptible to us usually. But keep a daily diary and look at it 5 years from now. You're a different person. You change. And so do all the people around you. And because that is true, some people will change for the worse. Some people will change for the better. We cannot have permanent enemies, period. It's immoral to imagine that someone must always be your enemy. That he's an Amalekite or whatever. That is immoral. And it's also, by the way, cutting yourself off from one of life's greatest joys, which is finding common humanity with another person and deciding, wait a second, I really dislike this person, but all of a sudden I'm seeing this person as a person whose concerns are not exactly the same as mine, but close enough. And actually this person is saying something really interesting, and I'm learning and I'm changing and I'm becoming much more aware of who this person is, and I really like it. In other words, there's no greater joy than the joy of reconciliation. That's the story of the prodigal son. Yeah, he did all kinds of indefensible stuff. Yeah, he wasted dad's money. Yeah, he acted like a total asshole. Okay, but he's back, and we're going to celebrate it. That's the greatest, most profound joy that there is, being reunited to another person, discovering that actually, I really like you. I thought I didn't, but now I do, because there are no permanent enemies. We have to have that attitude. And it's with that in mind that I announce with sincere pleasure that I really like and respect Anna Kasparian, and not because both of us have total contempt for the lunatic running Israel right now, Bibi Netanyahu, but because I sincerely think that Anna Kasparian, while she disagrees with me, I'm sure, on a million issues, is motivated by a desire to figure out what is best for the country that we live in. It's not about Israel at all. Sorry, Mark Levin. It's about us. And I think Anna Kasparian really cares about the United States.
All right, so he went off on a lot and touched on a lot of different things. Obviously spoke about the Amalekites. What you tell me, what are your thoughts on?
Yeah, it sounds like I like that positioning of just like, just understanding like you got to give yourself an opportunity to change and have grace. And being okay with that. Like no enemy day one should still be your enemy year 3 or year 4. So I think that just shows a level of maturity that is required as we grow older. It is very easily to get wrapped up in, what your beliefs are, especially when it's towards people that you feel like have an angle against you. Now, we use this obviously with a very clear state of mind, but we still got to understand like this doesn't mean like be a fool in situations. This doesn't mean like, oh, I'm just going to be open and let anybody in the door and do whatever they want. But it's just always understanding like we're constantly going to have to reevaluate relationships and beliefs and tradition and things of that nature. And so it's just being able to be as mature that if you're going to stand on some belief system, also be equally and determined to also step off of a belief system if it's no longer serving you, or you realize that there's some holes in it that need to be poked. And so you can allow things in the world to evolve around you too, because perspectives just change your reality. So you don't want to live the same life your entire existence because your beliefs have never changed. So give yourself the opportunity to see different things, to feel different things, to see different perspectives. I mean, so much of my 30s has been that, you know, just being allowed to allow things to change my opinion and my feeling towards things. And then you just start noticing, like, man, the world can have equally as much good as it has negativity, or the world's not all bad like everybody says. There is a lot of good. Like, it just depends on what your personal algorithm is, will determine what in perspective what reality is.
Right. And I think this is a great example of what happens when you can remove yourself from your gang affiliation of Democrats or Republicans or Fox News or MSNBC. What happens to Tucker? I'm sure there's a lot of people that would listen to Tucker now, perhaps a lot of Democrats, and would say, Tucker actually sounds like a cool guy, like a likable guy. I hated him when he was on Fox. I couldn't stand him when he was on Fox, and perhaps you had your reasons for it. I would question everything as far as the hatred based on what we're talking about right now, and having that hate in your heart for somebody and not giving them the ability and grace and just giving them the space to change and discuss certain ideas. And just like he was getting ready to bring on Anna Kasparian, who is more on the liberal side compared to Tucker being on the conservative side, the one thing that we can unite on is that, hey, I want what's best for Americans. And that's what should supersede, in my opinion, anything else. So it's like, okay, you see this, okay, you're cool with this group or this movement, this agenda. I'm not really cool with it, but hey, we agree on this. So let this serve as a starting point for us to open up dialogue and for us to move in a direction. What's your experience? Why do you have this view on this? What's your experience? Why do you have this view on this? It allows us to grow together and unite rather than just being used as pawns to fight each other for everybody else's benefit, the rich, the powerful, the elite, while it's at our detriment.
Yeah. I mean, I think, the saying of just like when the tide rises, all ships rise. And I think it's just important for the people that are in our communities, in this congregation, and to continue to push and force that happen, because we see how when you have a consistent dialogue, or you have constant reinforcement from whether it be television, then you have the people that are in power, you can see that you can change a whole belief system. Like when we speak about, what the Bible has done and how it's been weaponized in certain areas, like this is a testimony of how you can make change. And so just because things have been made change, what we may look at as negatively for so long, I want us to have that same belief that things can be changed positively for long. And it's just going to require us to assemble our different components and our different communication, because, as powerful as people are and how much change that they can do, I think people forget that. And I think that's where the oppressed comes from. I think that's where this influence of negativity comes from, is that, like you always say, like we all are our own gods. Like you have to see the God within you. When you can wash that away, you can get people to just be whatever. You got 14-year-old kids that have Dracos on the side of the corner because they think they big bro told them to. Like, guys, you can use it in a negative way. Imagine if we can reinforce it and force the people that are on top to use it positively. They don't want these conversations. They don't want us to have this high level of thinking. They don't want you to know what you can do, regardless of where you're from, the color you are, how tall you are, what gender you are. And so they're going to suppress this as much as possible, but we have to stay true and force the people that are in charge, or that are feeling the need to constantly reinforce these things that are making us lose our morals and our ethics, and say, we're not with that. And I don't care who he is, what color he is, where he's from. We stand united in just humanity, or as Americans, et cetera, et cetera. And we have to stand 10 toes on that in order to make that come true.
I agree 100%. I agree 100%. Yeah, you summed it up very well. And there was another one. Critical Thinking wrote, "Education is the key to winning." This is what Steve started off the show yesterday talking about. Let's unite on truth. Let's search for the truth. Let's unite on it, but let's use it to bring us together rather than to tear us apart. That's what I think. That's what I hear when I'm hearing you talk about this. So let's move on. Let's move on. Yes. Critical Thinking said, hit that like button, y'all. Appreciate it, Critical. Let's move on to a different part of this interview or this show that Tucker did, and then we're going to move on after this to another interesting conversation that Tucker had with Candace Owens. We got a bunch of videos for y'all, so we're going to try to get through everything. So let's go to this separate, this earlier part of the video in which he's addressing Mark Levin and this mindset of we have to destroy the entire group of people. Let's talk about
in our country. So the only way to stop it is by controlling your own behavior so you yourself don't become evil. So Mark Levin is already there. And we know that because Mark Levin has repeatedly, and he's not the only one, but he's the most blunt, has repeatedly called for just murdering civilians, children in Gaza because they're Amalek or whatever. They're stained by blood guilt. Prime Minister of Israel said exactly the same thing. They are guilty by virtue of how they were born. So that, by definition, includes women and children. So Mark Levin is not clever enough to keep the implications of these views to himself, and he said them repeatedly on television, just to give you a sense about how Mark Levin feels about human life and the human soul. Watch this.
And I'm supposed to, what? Shed crocodile tears for what's going to happen to these people? I'm not. Maybe I'm the only one who will voice it, but I'm not. Israel has every right to throw every damn thing it has at barbarians. And if there are innocent people, quote-unquote civilians, who are killed, then maybe they ought to organize to take out the government they elected. Tapper and the others are saying there's 2 million Palestinians in Gaza. They're not all terrorists. They don't all believe in Hamas. They really have no choice. Let me ask you a question. Is that how we treated the German people when we were fighting the Third Reich? Well, they're not all Nazis. I mean, you got to fight to win and survive. You can't sit there and figure all that stuff out. Oh, but don't hurt the civilians. Look.
I want to stop there. Besides the fact that this man is demonic or spewing demonic things, let me say that. And he's accepted this demonic perspective. It's almost like even worse because to my understanding, Palestinians actually took Jewish people in when nobody else would take them in. In all these countries, when they ran out of all these different countries, Palestinians actually took these people in. And then to flip the script and have Mark Levin saying the things that he's saying, like this is wild, bro. And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt it, but please feel free to chime in with what you've heard thus far. But could you imagine if Nick Fuentes said this? Could you imagine, like, I hear people complaining about Nick Fuentes saying certain things. What has Nick Fuentes said along the lines of this? Oh, you're upset that Nick Fuentes said that, oh, he likes certain aspects of Stalin or something like that. You're upset at what? That he likes certain people? Even if he loves these people. Look at what you love. Like, look at what you're actually encouraging. You are actively encouraging a genocide, saying you don't care if the women and kids die. It is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, woo. Like, to be able to get on air and stand on that type of business, like, you not coming outside with that energy, my guy. I can't respect nobody who's not willing to go on the front line with that energy and be outside with it. I'm tired of the children, the kids, like they become just innocent bystanders to egotistical 5'3" guys who not coming outside with that energy with you in their face. I'm tired of people being forced to be puppeted alongside with these type of behavior. You know how easy it is to sit back in an office and speak this type of noise and send a bunch of children to go run the play that you wouldn't run yourself? We not off that no more. We are challenging all people that are put in high positions that if your mouth can run this high, this loud, then be able to step outside with that same energy. If you turn a dog into a cat, you got to get out the way because you're not allowed to be in charge and not be willing to act this way when you outside. That's it. We want to see the people that are put in charge act like they're in charge. Pull the triggers that you guys claim you're going to pull. Walk on the business that you guys claim you're going to walk on. Talk to those people that you're talking to over the internet the same way. Show me and we'll follow. But until then, we are no longer being puppied about people that talk all this noise. And then when you see them in the streets, head down, ducking the fade. What do you say? Squabbler. Like, I want to see all that. That's what I'm convicted by.
Yeah, why don't you go fight? Why don't you
go over there? Go over there.
Go lock yourself in a cage with another man, a Palestinian man your age, and then why don't you go fight to the death? Because that's what they're playing, a video game with our lives.
Yes.
To Mark Levin, this is
a game.
Playing a video game. And even when you look at how a lot of these wars are now being fought with these drones, people are not even in the actual.
They're not in the
It disconnects us with the reality that you mentioned earlier about what happens when you actually take a life that I can only imagine. I don't know. It doesn't seem like anything. I don't want to experience.
I'm not looking for that feeling ever. At all. At all.
But then you have Mark Levin spewing the things that he's spewing. Like, how are you still on the air saying these things?
Yeah.
You couldn't say this about if any other person said this. I was getting ready to say you can't say this about any other group, but I'm going to flip it. You couldn't be of any group, any other group, and say certain things like this about any group.
And not have to stand on business
And not have, and it be okay, not being taken off the air. And it's interesting because a buddy of mine that I've spoken about on this show, I disagreed with him going over there and obviously fighting and taking part in this genocide. However, I always gave a certain amount of credit. I don't even know if you want to call it credit, but a certain level of respect from at least you're willing to stand on and put your life on the line for something, because it's all these other people that are convincing other people to put their lives on the line for something that they believe. And I don't think that respect is the right word. So I want to be clear on that. But there's just certain, I just looked at it in a different way than like a Mark Levin. However,
a little bit more credibility.
Right.
Yeah,
however,
I see what you mean.
When you're the big bully, it's easy. When you got America behind you, when you got 10 brothers behind you that are all, 10 years older than you, 5 years older than you, and you're going to fight some kid.
You pop your shit differently.
Smaller than you, and everybody's with him. They're scared to do anything because, it's a different, like, of course you'll join the military when you're the bully or you got the bully on your side. But it's a different level of courage that is necessary when you know that you're up against something that you're probably going to lose. So I don't, you know what I mean? So all this tough guy stuff that you're talking about, like it's so corny and shame on us for allowing this type of man to spew these type of things, because they're all insecure little people like a little Shapioro who never got a certain amount of respect when they were young kids, and that always sits with them. So now when they get a little bit of power, a little bit of influence, and they get celebrated, the donors are probably giving Mark Levin more money as he's saying this crazy stuff. It becomes intoxicating.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen, I'd say in the past year to 2 years, we've seen people that are willing to stand on their business just within America and run plays that guys like Mark Levin aren't running. We saw what happened up in with your mans not too long ago. With like we've got children that are running wild beliefs and they're reacting their emotions out literally. And then you got guys like this who hiding behind Instagram or Twitter or getting on podcasts who ain't willing to do none of this stuff. Like we're not off that no more, bro. Like y'all. If y'all got beef, y'all go handle it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Like, just go handle it. We just don't want to be, I don't want the children to be, I don't want the dogs, the cats, the mom, the grand. No, you go handle that business that you want to be handled. Don't brainwash the people.
If you had a problem at JMU You should have said something. Nah, that's an insider joke for y'all. No.
Go handle your business, cuz like we got no smoke. We're here for it. I'm here for you to act out the beliefs and all that stuff, but you guys ain't like that. Like let's give it to them straight. Like I'm seeing more heart in the Palestinian people than I'm seeing on the other side. From the way y'all making it seem, it's lopsided. Niggas still ain't folded. They still standing with it. I don't care what the numbers are.
And have never folded.
No fold.
And that's why it's so dangerous right now as far as the existence of Israel, because people are starting to see exactly what you just expressed. Like, hold up. Like, why have we always looked at it like this? If somebody took my home, I actually would respect the fact that they're not stopping on anything until I get my land back.
Yeah.
You killed off or ran out my grandfather, and now you got me living in this oppressed state that you still have control over, and you just pulled up in the region. You're not from this area. I don't care what family or biblical lineage you try to attach yourself to. I'm not hearing any of that. And now you think you're just going to take my land and now continue to push forward? I'm not saying. Who's really the Amalekites or Amalekites? Mm-hmm. Who's really the spirit of the Amalekites? Mm-hmm. Who's really the spirit that continues to try to push on the people that are, I mean, I don't believe anybody's God's chosen people. You know what I mean? To what Finn said, if God's choosing people like him, then I'm out. You know, but this is little God.
Yeah. I mean, you remember our guy that we talk about in Hathaway. Remember we spoke about like when Hathaway was in the tribal Indian group in when America was being colonized, and then they captured him and they set him and a lot of his people on fire. And then it's a great story, you guys. You can go on YouTube and check it out. But it's about a Indian named Hathaway. And as they were burning him, the Christians asked him, did he want to give his life to Jesus Christ? And he says, are those colonizers, do they believe in Jesus Christ? And then he was like, yes. And he was like, okay, perfect. I don't want to go anywhere they're going. And he said, light me on fire. And went out, and the entire crowd was screaming his name. And that story still stands to this day because of those 4 to 5 words that he chose to say. So look, man, not everybody's soft. Not everybody. Okay. Some people willing to spin the block and okay with the repercussions that come with it. And we respect those people. We don't respect what you want.
Remember the Alamo. That's the mindset. And everything you just said, what's so funny about that is if people look at that story and it's Hathaway?
I believe it's Hathaway.
Hathaway.
Yeah.
Think about it from that story's perspective. He's saying that, oh, they worship Jesus Christ or they're Christians over there. I don't want to go anywhere near them. That's what's so offensive to me is that these people, they allowed certain aspects of religion to be created in Jesus's name that he would never stand for. And it's not clarity. A lot of people don't look at, well, is the Old Testament a part of the New Testament? Is the Old Testament just showing us how that was wrong? And then when Christ came, this is how you're supposed to live. But when they attach Jesus to this religion and you got a book that got the Old Testament and the New Testament, and you're not making these things clear, at least to the common folk, based on how I see it being lived out. Think about it. Hathaway, he did what Jesus would do. He actually put on business. He actually said, yo, light me up. I'm not changing my beliefs just because y'all are threatening me with this, threatening me with that. I'm willing to stand on it. I'm willing to die on this hill. So it's very interesting. Let's keep going a little bit more with this video. I saw something in the chat about Jim Jones. Yeah, not the rapper, right?
We have to defend ourselves. The Israelis have to defend ourselves. The free world has to defend itself. And if there's collateral damage, well, that's too bad.
25 years ago in this country, people didn't talk that way. They didn't. It was a different landscape, different expectations. The idea of blood guilt, because that's what he's describing there. You should be killed by virtue of who your parents are, who your grandparents were, by virtue of how you were born. You should be killed. You don't have a right to live. You're guilty because you were born, and which, of course, leads to collective punishment and genocide. That's the basis of genocide right there, that attitude. That was considered totally un-Christian and un-American because it is. And if someone said something like that on television, I mean, he'd be probably pulled off the air for that. You should kill kids because you don't like their parents? That is their attitude. That's the Israeli government's attitude. Well-documented attitude. We're paying for that. And you could say, well, you don't have to hate Israel, but that behavior is not better than Hamas at all. In fact, it's kind of the same, right? You killed civilians. They came in and killed people at a music festival. Bibi, turns out, let them in. We found out today in the Knesset. But whatever you think of what happened on October 7th, Israeli civilians were killed. That's terrible. We're against that. We have to be against that, and we're no better than the people we're fighting, of course. What is the difference between us and them? We're in different groups? That's not a meaningful difference. The difference is we're committed to a set of Western principles, and those principles begin with we reject blood guilt. And because we do, we reject collective punishment and genocide. A lot of us thought that was a consensus after World War II. That was the lesson of the Nazi regime. Should have been the lesson of the Soviet regime, which, of course, practiced collective punishment and committed genocide against Christians. Most people don't even know that. It did more efficiently than the Nazis did. But all of it is terrible. All of it is awful. And a lot of us thought that was the main lesson that we were supposed to take away from the war. And by the way, that's a great lesson. That's an excellent lesson. We should take that lesson from the Second World War. And then you wake up and there's Mark Levin, and not just Mark Levin, but our policymakers, our members of Congress. Most of them are not Jewish, by the way. This infected everybody. That's okay. It's not okay. It'll never be okay. It's a shame. It's shameful behavior. It's a stain on this country. You can't fight people unless you think you're morally superior to them. You shouldn't be. And how can you say you're morally superior if you're operating from the same assumption, which is that everyone on the other side should be killed because of how they were born?
All right, so we'll leave it there. I was going to play one more part referencing our man, Ben Shapiro. This is something that we spoke about yesterday, and I want to elaborate on it. If so, I may move to, we have another video to discuss after this, but let's just play it since we're on here.
Quick question, what is the smoke with Tucker Carlson? Why is he?
All right, so yeah, there's a good. So
he just seems like a very relaxed, even though I'm hearing what he's saying, but I don't understand. Why would he not be able to be on certain platforms?
I think because Israel's in a position right now where they're worried about their survival. They're in survival mode. You know what I mean? They're in survival mode. And they're in survival mode because the only reason that Israel has been able to exist is because of what? Because of America. Whether it's not just the finances, and the finances are probably less than just the fact that everybody in that region that Israel has conflicts with knows that America has a special relationship with Israel. And if you attack Israel, if you do anything to Israel, America's going to destroy your country, or America will supply Israel with whatever they need to commit a genocide on your country, like we're witnessing with Palestine. So when Tucker Carlson comes out and now holds people accountable based on the religion that they're saying that they're a part of, and he's calling people out saying, how are we condoning this? How are we participating in this? How is it okay for this to happen? And then he's also calling out the fact that the reason why America's complicit in it is because of the AIPAC influence. It's because of the Jewish American donors. It's because of the pro-Israel Zionist lobby that are controlling our politicians. So he's calling this stuff out. So now the younger generation and Tucker's following. So now you got parents and kids. You may have a Nick Fuentes and a Charlie Kirk questioning these things to the younger crowd, but then you also have Tucker Carlson reminding a lot of his followers, hey, this is not the right way to live. We've been complicit in this for a very long time, and it's been complicit in a lot of these evil actions. So when Tucker Carlson calls out a lot of Christians and saying who believe that they're supposed to just be good to Israel, like Ted Cruz said, be good to Israel, and then God will bless you. You'll get into heaven. There's a whole lot of Christians that believe this type of stuff, and they're spewing it to the rest of America, their congregation, and whoever else, and convincing a lot of Americans that, oh, this is why we have to be good to Israel. To be a good Christian, you have to be good to Israel. So now that Carlson's calling all that stuff out, what is the younger generation going to think? The younger generation is just going to use common sense and sit here and be like, yo, yeah, why are we supporting Israel again?
Oh, okay.
Why are we allowing them to commit a genocide? Wait, let's actually look into this. Wait, Israel was created when they keep saying, does Israel have the right to exist? They actually took people's land? Oh, because we grew up just thinking that all the Palestinians and the Arabs in that region were just evil, demonic, terrorist, radical, right? It's like, have you ever heard somebody say that this is a radical Jewish person? What's the term for that? Jewish,
Right.
you know, like Israelis can do any and everything, but there's no radical term for that. There's even radical terms when it comes to Christian ideologies, I feel like. But when it comes to Jewish people, when it comes to Israel, you don't have that. And Tucker Carlson is breaking down that wall that people have always been scared to touch. And that's like, we don't owe Israel anything. Matter of fact, our involvement with Israel is probably causing us more harm and getting us into more trouble. That's why when Osama bin Laden wrote his letter, one of the reasons why he gave for them doing what they did on 9/11 was because of our support for the not the Jews, for Israel, and what a lot of Israel has done in that region, a lot of the harm that they've committed. So Tucker Carlson threatens their entire existence, because if Americans, the people, start to not agree with the things that the politicians go along with and start to call out this behavior, then who's going to support Israel? And if we don't support Israel, do we think that Israel can exist?
Okay, I like it then.
So
it's like dismantling a lot of it's dismantling all these beliefs and traditions. And okay, gotcha. I did not know that.
So that's the energy behind it. That's why they have to call Tucker Carlson. They have to call him. I even saw in the comments somebody wrote Tucker Carlson. They'll say that a lot of these people that just don't go along with everything that Israel's doing are being sponsored by Qatar, a country that they actually bombed, which is supposed to be the mediator. You know, we have a good relationship with Qatar. Qatar's an ally of ours, and they still bomb Qatar. So it's just so arrogant, because for us to sit here and say Tucker Carlson is sponsored by Qatar, well, look at all of the people, our politicians, that are sponsored by AIPAC, that are sponsored by a Jewish organization, right? Because we're not saying Israel, that they said they're not registered as a foreign lobbying group. So therefore, I'm assuming that they're Jewish Americans. So look at the influence that they have. Look at the influence that a lot of these Israeli-born billionaires like Miriam Adelson, look at their influence. They are literally bragging about primarying Thomas Massey, a senator, just based on him not having the same views as them. So who's buying the politician? So we're over here complaining about this person being supported by Qatar. That's why they're saying something and not aligned with Israel and pro-Israel Zionism. But they're doing the same thing, and it's being called out by guys like Tucker.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so that's a long way of saying that. But let's look at this, because Ben Shapiro, baby Ben, he's another example of all of this stuff. He's another example of all this stuff, this hatred that's being spewed. And they use somebody like a slick talking, fast talking guy like Ben Shapiro in order to justify this stuff. But let's go. One of the videos we actually saw yesterday, but it's going to be an explanation and a new video that we hadn't seen. So let's go through this.
Well, here are a couple of clips that you can watch carefully and answer the question for yourself. Here's Ben Shapiro.
We have trained an entire generation of people to believe that if their lives are not what they want them to be, it's the fault of systems, as opposed to decisions that are in their own control. And politicians absolutely have a stake in selling that. A lot of people in our industry have a stake in selling that. It makes people feel good about themselves and bad about the world. And the reality is, if you want a better life, you should feel better about the world and worse about yourself. If you're a young person and you can't afford to live here, then maybe you should not live here. I mean, that is a real thing. Yeah, I know that we've in a society that says that you deserve to live where you grew up. But the reality is that the history of America is almost literally the opposite of that.
It's hard to know where to that clip. I think that's been on the internet, and people are experiencing gut level revulsion when they see it, and they really should. And there's so many ways to approach that. There's so many things wrong with those statements. So childish, those statements, so lacking an understanding of people or any connection really to the country at all. But really what you see underneath all of that is contempt for the people who live here. You have no right to live in the town where you were born just because your parents are buried there. Your ancestors built the town. Who do you think you are? Imagine feeling that way about someone in your own country. Imagine having that level of contempt for a fellow American. You don't even know anything about the person. It's young people. They're not entitled to live where they want. They'll live where BlackRock tells them they can live. It's like, whoa. If you had a thought like that, I've had some ugly thoughts. I just admitted having some ugly thoughts. Boy, I would try and push it back and not express it. Ben says it without any embarrassment because he means it. That's exactly right, because he means it. Whew. I don't think that you can win a popular debate with that attitude, because irrespective of the content of your sentence, people can feel the loathing that the speaker has for them. Ben Shapiro just does not care about you at all, is not even pretending to care about you. So again, it really doesn't matter what he's selling. That guy is not going to make the sale if people are free to buy whatever they want. It's like, I don't know what that guy's selling, but he doesn't like me. I can feel it right away. He doesn't care at all about me at all. And he thinks so little of me, he's not even going to like put on the dog. He's not even going to like try to pretend to care about me.
I don't know why. My apologies for
And a guy like that, whew, he really needs censorship and bullying to succeed, because the free market does not reward a man like that at all, ever, because people don't like it. Why would they like it? Here's another clip that makes basically the same point that is in some ways even more disgusting, maybe less well known. Here's Ben Shapiro telling you that if you ever want to retire, stop working to pay off your 50 freaking year mortgage. You own the house, really, for 50 years. Okay, no, I'm renting it. I'll be 90 by the time I pay it off, which of course I won't, because I got all kinds of other loans too. So if you complain about that, if you had these dreams of like working really hard and retiring, how dare you? How dare you? Here's Ben Shapiro.
No one in the United States should be retiring at 65 years old. Frankly, I think retirement itself is a stupid idea unless you have some sort of health problem. It's totally insane that you believe that you should be able to work from the time that you are essentially 20 to the time that you are 65, which is a 45-year period, pay in, and then you will receive Social Security benefits sufficient to support you and your family, you and your wife or whatever, for like another 20 years. That's crazy talk.
Yeah, it's crazy talk. Like, how dare you? How dare you? Now, the conventional response to this, and I've heard people say it, is, well, Ben Shapiro can say that because he's a podcaster. He's not climbing ladders for a living. And if you climb ladders for a living, you know, or do any kind of physical labor, even light physical labor, your body breaks down. It's just a fact. And if you're around people who've done it, you know, by the time they get to 50, they're limping and they're in pain. That's why they're, you know, you go to these little towns around the country and most businesses are gone. There are no furniture stores or no toy stores. Like, they're all gone. They're all at Walmart. They're a husk. But what you do find next to the, you know, the drug rehab places are chiropractors. There are a lot of chiropractors throughout the country. It's because poorer people, working class people, blue collar people are aching. They have trouble walking. Their backs hurt. So retirement for a man who climbs ladders is a little bit different from a man who hosts a podcast.
I want to stop it there. The retirement for me, like I see, I look at it. I don't ever want to retire, but I also want to create a job that I enjoy doing, you know, not doing, let's say, a lot of forced to do manual labor. Like, I'm looking at guys right now, they're doing window cleaning and painting right now on a building, probably on like the 12th floor. Yeah. I don't think that, you know, if I was doing that, then I would want to retire at some point. I do understand how retirement, I'm more scared of dementia and stuff like that. You know what I mean? I want the brain to keep going, but there's other things that you can do. But to me, I just look at Ben Shapiro saying these things, and it's different him saying than what I'm saying, I believe. But he's just one of these selfish business guys. who doesn't really care about the American people. And it's just another example to me how, there's certain things that Israel has certain advantages, or the people in Israel live in a different way than people in America. And I think that Ben Shapiro just looks at America as workers in general. It's like the Americans are just here to work for establishing the greater Israel, and Israeli, that when you go to Israel, that's the utopia of how we live. And maybe I'm looking at it a different way. I'm not too stuck in, standing on my thoughts on this, but what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Like, you get torn in between these two worlds. But, the reality of the situation is that most of the Americans do work a job that retirement does look a little bit more exciting than the job that they're currently in. And it's just the nature of the business. Not everybody can grab a podcast. Not everybody is going to have an opportunity to work something that may not be physically laboring. Not everybody gets the opportunity to go to college and get their master's. And so, not saying that all these opportunities aren't accessible to everyone, but it's just the reality of the situation. And it's going to be built off of certain jobs like that. And so retirement looks exciting for certain people, and they look forward to things of that nature. We're now, me and you are kind of somewhat in that younger generation that are able to see jobs that are exciting that we can push out to 70, 80, 85 until we have our last breath. But 20, 30, 40 years ago, that wasn't even a thought of that's possible. If you weren't a musician, if you weren't an athlete, the thought of retiring or doing something for longer than 30 something years was ridiculous. And, I hate that condescending conversation when he speaks that way, because it's like, look, Ben Shapiro ain't stupid. And I feel like we spend so much time explaining people that know exactly what they're saying. He's not slow. He knows that as he says and spreads this ridiculousness, that it is speaking to a class of people that aren't necessarily going to be receptive to what he's saying. I'm not even going to entertain it. What I'm going to say about it is that we know that majority of these people are working. Why is it not us focusing on how we can give them an opportunity or something that they can subsidize their income, or providing some type of motivation or something that teaching them about financial literacy and how to save their money, investing in the stocks or real estate? Like, we can get off of trying to tell people that they need to work till 75 years. Just come up with the ways that will allow them to stay relevant. I don't think people are waking up at 72 because they got an ego, bro. They got to go to work. It's just the nature of the business. Are we looking at rent? A 1-bedroom in the Yay is $2,700. Like, the groceries, you get one bag of groceries at the store is $60, $70. Like, the thought of just being able to retire is no longer a 2025 conversation. If you retire, bro, blessings. But to keep speaking in this way, as if we're not watching interest rates be above 6-7%, if we're not watching the president introduce 50-year loans, if we're not watching all these things, and we still are having egotistical conversations about you shouldn't be able to retire, that's bro, we're not even talking. Can we focus on why my eggs are $15?
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about retirement. Talk about I can get through this week.
Yeah. And this is another reason why I'm so excited about Tucker Carlson being an example of when you put your political affiliation to the side, when you no longer have to appeal to the Republicans, when you no longer have to appeal to your group, the Democrats, you can just exercise some common sense, some decency, some grace, where it's like, okay, I don't have to be all on this side and just say, no, people should work. If they can't figure it out, then that's on them. They'll die. I don't have to look at it from there. But I also don't have to look at it from a standpoint of, no, give everybody everything free. Nobody should have to work. When you get rid of your gang affiliation, you can just, all right, let's figure out something. Do the American people want to work? Okay. So why don't we have some type of transition program that allows them Shout out to, I forgot who wrote it, who mentioned something about purpose. I think it was Conjure. So yeah, Conjure said, find a purpose, something that puts good out. Well, let's create some programs for people that they can transition out of working and then go into something else where they're still adding something to society. They're feeling like they're still, for me, it's always like the cognitive. Like I want to make sure that, hey, I got to always be doing
moving,
something.
shaking.
Right.
Yeah.
Staying active. So it's just like you said, like the audacity, the ego that a guy like Ben Shapiro has. And we know that you're saying it from a standpoint that doesn't even care about Americans, if we're just being real. So that to me is where it all goes left.
Right. Yeah, the younger Ben Shapiro wasn't talking like this. It's just cats is noticing that the views get up, the clicks are turned. They just saying like we're grown now. We don't have to necessarily react to everything that everyone says. And he's getting exactly what he wanted from that situation. He's not stupid. When 20 years ago, the thought of him not retiring at a certain age never came across his head. But just now there's an opportunity to benefit from saying stuff like this because it appeases to a certain group. Like you said, the gang affiliation, it appeases to them. It gets them going. They like to hear that you need to work for everything you work for, et cetera, et cetera. No, I don't believe that. Now, do I believe that somebody should sit on their ass and not do nothing? But you're not going to tell me that somebody gave 60, 65, 70 years of hard work and labor, and we can't figure out how they can have a decent livable wage in order to just live out the remaining years. And it, like, this is just silly conversation with these new age podcasters who are 5'2", who once again don't stand on no type of that business in person. So the Ben Shapiros of the world and the guys that you've mentioned, like, look, we're cool with what y'all saying as long as you say it when I'm in the room.
Right.
Go say it to the older lady who's not off that. Go have that energy. Don't speak into your Apple or your iPhone or your lens, your camera. Go say it to a group of older people that have contributed and laid the foundation for a lot of America's work ethic and built a lot of things their entire lives, have calluses on their hands, have missed out on raising their children, their grandchildren, just to support a livable wage, to give their kids an opportunity to go to college and get to a further position on the finish line than you. Go tell those people that. And if you have the heart to do it, one of their kids will punch you in your mouth. I'm all about that. Like, y'all just got to go stand on all this trash y'all talk. I'm cool with the trash talk and just go stand on it.
Yeah, go. You address whatever comes back your way. It's like somebody the other day wrote, "Yo, can I get a pass to say the N-word?" Say the N-word. I'm not stopping you from saying the N-word.
Right.
You may say it in a situation where you get punched in the face and like. But something that you said. You said that Ben Shapiro wasn't saying that 20 years ago. He may have been saying this stuff, this type of everything that Ben Shapiro's been saying. It didn't hit the same way, though, because he was allowed to put out, even when he was trying to cancel Nick Fuentes like 10 years ago, he was allowed to put out certain stuff, which is he was calling for the ethnic cleansing of Gaza, removing people from that land, like removing, but it didn't receive some of the heat. I think what's happening now is he's talking all this and we're seeing the contradictions. We're seeing how hypocritical it is for you to sit here and act like, oh yeah, people should be able to stand on their own 2 feet. And if they shouldn't be able to stand on their own 2 feet, then bro, you are Israel. You represent Israel. Yeah. Israel would not have, there is no standing on anything when it comes to Israel without America. So it's more so us seeing like, hold up, this arrogant mindset of embracing his motto of facts over feelings. Oh, that's only the case when we're not talking about Israel. Because when we actually start talking about the facts around Israel, Americans are not supporting you. Americans are not supporting the Zionist movement. Americans can look at what's going on with the Palestinians and say, damn, they look a bit more courageous on that side than anything that Israel's doing. So I think now it's just being exposed in a way where we're seeing that, oh, Ben Shapiro doesn't have this same energy towards every situation. He just has this energy towards the non-Jews, the people that won't align with believing that the Jews are God's chosen people. That's how I see it.
Yeah, I mean, Dak, look at like who just I just highlighted what Steve said. If the amount of Social Security money taken from us was managed properly, we would all retire as millionaires. Instead, they use it as a scare tool. They are taking 30 to 40% off of paychecks of Americans every paycheck. Don't you dare tell me they can't fucking retire. You took half of their check.
Yeah. Yeah.
You took half of it.
Hold on, highlight that one because I think
I did. I highlighted it.
Is it on the screen?
Yeah, it was on the screen. I just put it back.
Okay, because I ain't see it. All right.
Okay, I just put it out. Like, what are you talking about? Y'all taking every bit of their check and telling them it's for X, Y, and Z, and then retire. Okay, how about this for example, Ben Shapiro? If you feel like all Americans should be able to stand on their feet, particular age, leave their checks alone and watch it become reality.
Yeah.
Watch them. They'll be okay. But when you're taking the Americans' check and you're taking 20, 30% and it somehow disappears and all of a sudden it's funding wars they didn't ask for. It's funding countries they didn't ask for. It's funding institutions and churches they didn't ask for. It's not going into their education. It's not going into building out organic food so they can live longer. It's not going into fixing their houses that are falling apart. It's not going into lowering their Georgia power bill. It's not going into lowering their interest rate. It's not going into fixing their credit. It's not going into anything that they can benefit from right now. But you want to take 35% of the check. Dog, you are running a scam. You guys are bullying. This is gang behavior. If you want them to survive longer than what you're saying, don't touch the Americans' checks.
Yeah.
Until then, you keep taking their check. They can sit their asses on that throne at 65, and I don't give a flying F if they do.
Yeah. Nah, that's real, bro. That's real. Instead of taking 30 or 40% or whatever and putting it into whatever money account that they're putting it in, let the people invest that.
Let the people put that. Let them collectively put together. Let me get in with my village. Let me Dax, Maya, his family. We're gonna put our stuff into a high yield savings account, and then when we all get older, we're gonna do like a lot of the Jewish do. We're gonna get an insurance policy.
You said that. You said everything else very loud, but when you said Jewish, you said.
Oh yeah, I didn't know if I could. I didn't want to mess your joint up, but get an insurance policy, like all that. Like, let's do that, and then we'll be all right. We've seen what the people can do when they have that mentality, that scared mentality, that fear mentality. We see how it's benefited them. Then let the American people live like that. But it's just not fair for us to condescendingly always be talking down on the American people, but at the same time taking everything from them, telling them they need to work, constantly puppying them into getting into different wars and fighting each other and all this other stuff. And you're gonna be like, well, why y'all can't figure it out? Nigga, because the bullseye ain't been on your back. The bullseye ain't been on you. Nobody even now when the Tucker Carlsons are out, now when all these people out, now y'all all of a sudden like, oh shit, bro, the lights are on. Yo, who turned the lights on what we got going on? Now all of a sudden everybody silence them, algorithm, cut them. Like, we don't want to hear them. Put them on that platform. Nah. You can't stop this. I'm telling you. The truth is going to survive anything you do. You cannot hide it. You can't put it in darkness. It's going to stand. You cannot convince this younger generation who has watched their parents go to work every day that this is supposed to be the way it is, and it's not going to work with the younger generation. Sorry, y'all can try to do it as much as you want. They a lot smarter. We willing to stand on business. We willing to die on our beliefs. We not playing that soft shit. We not like these other old heads. We with it. We spinning the block.
They gonna see, and especially these younger ones, especially these young 20, 30-year-olds, they're going to church. They reading the Bible. They're not accepting the same Israel do for Israel. They're not accepting that. They don't care about that. You're not gonna finesse them into believing that the Judeo-Christian values, whatever that even means, because it seems more opposing than anything as far as working together, especially when you look at the Muslim religion looks at Jesus as not as a divine being, but as a prophet, or I'm not sure if prophet's the exact word, but they hold Jesus in very high regards. That's not the case when it comes to Israel. So or when it comes to Judaism. So it's just very funny how we always use that term Judeo-Christian, and we've grown up with that as if the two go together when it's like polar opposites in a lot of ways. But let me just read this comment from Robert, then we'll get into this next video. Shout out to big bro Robert, always tapping in, always showing love and support. We appreciate it. Look up their effective tax rate of the NFL. Look up the effective tax rate of NFL players versus NFL owners. NFL players are at 50%. NFL owners are at 15%. It wasn't like this 50 years ago when America was great. The rich tax cuts is why nobody can afford to live. I got to really look into that, because that's something I was even talking about yesterday on the show, where I've gotten caught up in looking at it a different way and looking at it like, not that it should be as wide of a gap as that, but I think it is a good thing to incentivize business owners who are taking more risk to establish consistency for people that can be their employees. However, obviously, this disparity is crazy. 15% compared to 50%, and then we're wondering why players going broke. But that's a different conversation for a different day. But you're right. And this is what needs to be. It doesn't matter what my opinion is on that. If we look at, if Robert's saying that it wasn't like this 50 years ago and America was doing better, then let's just go and research what it was like. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter what my opinion. Oh, these people should get. No, if we were living in a better way 50 years ago when it wasn't this disparity, then clearly something needs to change. Something needs to change. So I want to take a look at this video, because I think that this is just a demonstration of how mainstream media outlets, compared to just a free thinking person like Tucker, approaches certain things. And you asked earlier why people hate Tucker. I think this is more of an example of that. So let's go through this, and you can give me the heads up on if you want me to stop at any point. It's a longer video. I'll try to get through at least a couple minutes before stopping, but we'll begin this now.
Candace Owens has been putting out some pretty wacko stuff, I would say, would be my opinion on the death of Charlie. It's not helpful, is it, that, at that time of an incredible national upheaval, and obviously personal and familial family tragedy.
And hold on, I'm sorry. I have a correction. So I believe my dad said messenger. That's how they look at Jesus. So y'all know whenever my dad texts me, I got to stop the show and I got to just make sure that I'm being clear on things.
Absolutely.
So let's keep going.
Not helpful, is it, that
y'all say what's up to my dad, man. That's the key to all this stuff. Your parents. I was sitting here freaking out the other day, BK. I was like, yo, my parents, we've done shows for the last 3 years. And my parents take time out of their day to tap in every show. I'm sorry, but it's mind-blowing to me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, damn, yo, they really tap into every show? That's just that. If we're looking for answers, support your kids and pour into them. And this is why it's so frustrating when we talk about family and we talk about affordability, which is so scary, where it's like, if we can't afford to we think we can't afford to even have wives, even have girlfriends, even date, we can't afford to have kids, we can't afford to get married, all these different things. We're losing that family component, which in a lot of ways is the key to all of this.
Yeah, it's a start for sure.
Yeah, it's a foundation, you know what I mean, that we can build from. So let's keep going. My apologies for stopping.
No,
at that time of an incredible national upheaval, and obviously personal and familial family tragedy, to have someone like that picking apart the argument and suggesting that there are darker forces at play here that the US government have a hand in covering up. Can you see why people get upset by that and would like you perhaps to sort of distance yourself from that sort of thing?
Pretty funny. So am I going to attack Candace Owens because you think
I'm not asking you to attack her.
I'm not going to do that, Harry.
No,
probably not going to do that. I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt as a foreigner of not understanding our politics, but the whole ritual of, this.
Yeah, hold on.
Yeah, that was a shot.
Yeah.
That was a shot. I'm going to give you that benefit of the doubt.
I'm going to run it back because I felt like I was doing so much talking in the beginning. Yo, understand, like, just I appreciate the art of communication and style when it comes to that. I'm gonna run it back. Look at how Tucker seems to be going along with and agreeing with everything that this dude says before just destroying his entire argument. Hold on, I'm sorry, I gotta run it back. I'm sorry.
Candace Owens has been putting out some pretty wacko stuff, I would say, would be my opinion on the death of Charlie. It's not helpful, is it, that, you know, at that time of an incredible national upheaval, and obviously personal and familial family tragedy, to have someone like that picking apart the argument and suggesting that there are darker forces at play here that the US government have a hand in covering up. It just, can you see why people get upset by that and would like you perhaps to sort of distance yourself from that sort of thing?
Pretty funny. So am I going to attack Candace Owens because you think
I'm not asking you to attack her.
I'm not going to do that, Harry.
No,
probably not going to do that. I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt as a foreigner of not understanding our politics, but the whole ritual of, you know, this person said something I don't like. In order to be a good person, you must denounce this person. Obviously, I would die before I played along with that. I don't know anyone who's saying that who was the moral authority to compel me. I don't know anyone saying that it was any moral authority at all. And I would say broadly, not about Candace, comma, whom I love, comma, but about all people. Getting to the truth is the most important thing. I've devoted my life to it. I haven't always done a very good job at all, but it still remains to this day my animating motive. I want to know what the truth is. Again, I don't always get there. I usually don't get there, but I want to be the guy who cares what's true. A. B, if you're telling me that because the U.S. government or some law enforcement agency issues a statement that doesn't even make sense, that I'm required somehow morally to accept that and not ask any questions, like, can you hear yourself? I mean, what are you saying?
No, I'm just saying. I'm trying to understand that the point I'm making.
No, I'm trying to understand. Why don't you answer my question? No, hold on. What are you saying? So if you're saying that if a law enforcement agency issues an explanation that doesn't actually answer like basic key questions about what happened, that I'm somehow a bad person for asking a follow-up question?
No, I don't think. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that why there is a legal process undergoing and why a guy is standing in an American courtroom today, potentially facing the chair for his role in this. That case, needs to.
I don't think he's in a courtroom today. I don't think he's pled either way.
He was in court. He was in court this afternoon for a hearing.
Did he plead?
It's ongoing as we go on. I think it was.
I'll tell you my position.
Let me just finish my point. Let me just finish my point. My point is, you asked my question. You asked what I'm saying. I'm saying is spectacularly unhelpful to have conspiracy theories, questioning the.
Unhelpful to whom?
Unhelpful to the hopefully getting justice for the guy that put a bullet in that young man's neck.
But in what sense? Why is it okay? If a government issue, I mean, I think this is kind of why your country is jumping off a cliff collectively, because it's like, well, the government said so. In my country, we have a long tradition of freedom, and that means that every person is allowed to come to his own conclusions based on the facts and consistent with his own conscience. Our Bill of Rights, unlike yours, guarantees that right. That's why we don't send people to prison for Facebook posts. So if the government issues a description of what they say happened and it doesn't make sense to you, I'm not sure who it's, quote, unhelpful to ask, like, what does this mean? What are you saying? And, I'm not referring specifically to Candace Owens or anyone else, but like, what is it? What are you even talking about? Why is that unhelpful? Are you saying that the government always reaches the right conclusion? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying there's a risk, though, that during a live trial, essentially, that
a risk to whom?
A risk to the justice, a risk to the trial collapsing, a risk to giving this guy ammunition to perhaps, to suggest in a courtroom that the case against him is somehow flawed.
But you're assuming he's guilty. Like, that's not our system. We don't pronounce people guilty without hearing the evidence. I don't know, what country are you from? That's not how it works here.
I'm not assuming he's guilty. I'm saying he's on trial right now.
We don't put anybody to death unless we're sure they actually did it. And we're sure they did it because we've heard all the evidence, we've heard the counter argument against that evidence, and then citizens make up their mind. So that's our system. That's how we arrive at justice. We don't just assume because we heard 3 things on Twitter that someone is guilty and deserves the death penalty. Like, that is not justice. That's like African justice. And we just try not to.
Yeah.
Yeah, he cooking up.
I'm sorry, yo. And I was already going to stop it. I don't know why Tucker decided to throw in that's like African justice, bro. It's just going to throw everything off, bro.
Yeah, what does that mean?
I don't even know what it meant.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, hold on, let me
do that here. So I don't know.
He doesn't elaborate on it anymore. Like, yeah, I'm like, bro.
Yeah.
But everything he's saying is spot on. You know, everything that he's saying is spot on regarding, you know, how we look at a lot of these situations. He's offended that Candace Owens has the audacity to question what the government says. Like, this is where I think people aren't reading the room correctly. And this is why when you talked earlier about the younger generations, we don't just believe what somebody in a suit and tie on TV is saying us. We don't just believe it.
Yeah,
we lived during 2020. We know that people lie when it comes to anything. Like, we don't just believe because Bibi Netanyahu came here and said that Saddam Hussein has weapons of mass destruction. Like, the older generation may believe that because they didn't have the access to the information that we have.
Different times.
And it's clear to us, like, oh no, these people lie. Like, we can see it. We can put the videos just like how we started off the show. This is what Trump said before. This is what Trump's saying now.
Yeah.
We can put those side by side. This guy's just confused. He doesn't get it. This is why Candace Owens is so popular, because everybody else is like him, and Candace Owens has the courage to stand on certain things that a whole bunch of other people are not willing to.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, we're just not off of the shit that you on. We're not off of the y'all not gonna be able to keep up with the update. There's a new software update, and the suits, the ties, the CNNs, the ABCs, we not sorry, it's not gonna work. Like, this battle, the battle is over. Like, throw in the towel. Y'all get out the way, because the new cats on the block, and they not off that. They stand in transparency, where you can't hide the books, you can't lie, you can't force ignorance upon people. You can delete all the history you want, you can say all the things you want, but it's not gonna work no more.
Yeah, no, I agree. So let's take a look at some of the lies, and I haven't even seen this video. I sent this one to you.
Yeah, I saw it.
Did you check it out? I didn't check it out yet.
No, I haven't watched it yet.
So good. We'll both react to it live with you all. So let's take a look at this. So it starts off, what does it say? Candace Owens just compiled a list of 10 verifiable lies that Turning Point USA has made following Charlie Kirk's assassination. Everyone needs to see this. And this guy, hold on, besides all this, before we get into this video, have you seen the documentary that Candace Owens did on George Floyd, or like the Black Lives Matter documentaries? I would have never looked at the George Floyd situation like that. I didn't even know that fentanyl had anything to do with, like, this whole thing. That showed me that the country will put out a narrative, whatever narrative they want, who's in control, to cause chaos, to cause whatever uprising they want to cause, to distract us, I believe, and doing something that they can otherwise perhaps wouldn't get away with. Let's move on to this one. But this is just something I'm seeing when it comes to why people hate somebody having the audacity to do their own research, to uncover certain things. What is embarrassing is the fact that Candace Owens and the people that follow her on her podcast, like the FBI can't figure this stuff out, but Candace Owens can. You know what I mean?
Right. Through normal information outlets.
It's like, just looking at the videos, this isn't consistent with what was said. So let's take a look at this.
So they're allowed to lie. No, that's ridiculous. We will not be following that. Here's our list, and this is by no means definitive, okay? So getting this together briefly, they told us these lies. The amazing, heroic, magnificent Mikey McCoy had blood all over him. That's a lie, told by Pastor Rob McCoy. Charlie was a committed evangelical who only liked Catholic architecture. That's a lie, told and reinforced by Alex Clark and Andrew Colvett. Lie number 3 is that Charlie's neck stopped a 30-06 bullet because Charlie ate salad, he had strong bones, it was a modern-day Christian miracle. That's a lie. The offender is Andrew Colvett. Another lie. Charlie never blinked in his support for Israel. Offender, Josh Hammer, Bibi Netanyahu, insert Zionist here, many Zionist, Christian Zionist influencers as well. That turned out to be a big lie, an unnecessary lie. Lie number 5, the magnificent Mikey McCoy called his dad first. That's a lie. Rob McCoy told that lie. Number 6 is Terrell, the AV guy, was told to remove the cameras by police. That's not true. I have every second of his moves. That offender would be Tyler Boyer, okay? He lied. Number 7, Terrell moved the SD cards because people were stealing hats. Question mark, Andrew Colvett, what if you were scared about people stealing? Maybe remove the cameras? Very expensive cameras would be the thing that they would steal. What are they going to do with your SD card? They're going to resell that? Like, that doesn't make sense. Those are pretty cheap, right? Lie number 8, Ben Shapiro and Charlie Kirk never had any bad blood between them. The offender there was Alex Clark. Ben Shapiro was on her show, and I don't know why she tried that little bit of propaganda when she knew that wasn't factually true. 9, Charlie established Doge, and that wasn't unusual. Turning Point financially audits the company every year since its inception. Lie. Doge was entirely different from the apparatus of financially auditing yourself, which is recommended and actually in some states required for a company that size. That's 501c3. And 10, like I said, this is by no means a definitive list. Mikey McCoy was a hero that day. Now, you could say that's subjective, but I feel like that, like, objectively, to be a hero, you can't just make quick phone calls. I don't know. I not include 911 in that list. So I'm going to put that on our list of lies.
I think Unc summed it up correctly, and this is why they're attacking her. The nerve of her to call out these things, these inconsistencies, the nerve of us not to just go along with whatever the politicians or law enforcement says. The nerve, right? Like, it's interesting times. Yeah, you had any?
Yeah, I mean, these are the. I mean, we spoke about this last episode 2 days ago. Like, everything requires a check and a balance. Like, checks and balances are key, and so the internet has just been a free range place where just rules, laws, opinion, like anything goes on the internet. And nowadays, like, we got people like the Candace, like you said, the reason why Unc said they don't like her, like, yeah, there are certain people on the internet that are going to make you check what you said, and you can't erase it off the internet. So if you said it, you need to be held liable for that stuff. And so that's why the internet, the same game that they played when we weren't able to communicate across the world cannot be done in this atmosphere, because the data stays true, it stays consistent, the data cannot be erased. And so the lies, all we've seen now is the lies that were always told to us when our eyes were shut. The internet, the platform, social media forces those lies to be reinforced consistently. And if there is inconsistency, it can be revealed. And this is what I'm saying. The more that innovation happens and communication and transparency happen, you just can't get off what y'all used to get off 30 years ago. Sorry. Like, there's people like Candace who have bigger followings than mass media companies that are running the checks and balances. You guys cannot win in these platforms anymore. You can't silence it. You can't subpoena Facebook and tell them they can't talk about certain stuff. It's impossible, bruh. So it's just, I love to see challenge, not because I'm confrontational, not because I have a need to just want to challenge authority or whatever that definition is to an individual, but I love to see things get questioned, so I can see the entire conversation not be one-sided, a respectable, honest conversation, a debate, and we can get to what our beliefs are based on the transparency of everything. And this is what I love. Like, if Candace isn't doing this, let's just say hypothetically speaking, TPUSA is still walking around knowing this stuff is cap, and they're not about to go to let y'all know it ain't real. And this is where, oh, now look, there's a stain on the brand. There's a stain. Somebody's capping. There's lies. And so either you're going to have to confront it because Candace got the following now. Like, what y'all going to do? Say something.
Yeah.
So when you choose silence, oh, we're just going to admit it's guilty with no jury. So it's either you speak about it or don't speak about it. Either way, you're exposed, and there ain't no denying it. So I love to continue to see the checks and balances happen to all people. Everyone needs to be checked and balanced.
I love that. I love that. And that to me, like my biggest thing, and I think what I continue to just lean into is us getting rid of these affiliations that we have, whether it's the fanaticism for a particular person or a fanaticism for a particular party that does not allow us to check and balance our own people, does not allow us to look at something because, oh, my man did that, so I'm not going to check that. No, that's more reason for me to check that. And I mean, this is somebody that was a close friend of Candace Owens who passed, who was assassinated. You know, so Candace Owens having the courage to stand on this stuff, knowing what may end up coming back her way. Like, now we're going to support that. The market doesn't lie. The market is showing that we believe Candace. We believe Tucker. We're more interested in those people than we're interested in hearing what Bibi Netanyahu, what Ben Shapiro, what Mark Levin, what Randy Fine, what Lindsey Graham. The people can look at the things that Candace is saying, the things that Tucker is saying, the things that Nick Fuentes is saying, and compare that to the things that Randy Fine is saying as he's promoting a genocide and celebrating them being able to kill Palestinians, whether it's Lindsey Graham going on the Republican Jewish Coalition stage and saying that, hey, I'm happy with the Republican Party. We're killing all the right people and we're cutting your taxes. Whether it's Josh Hammer, Ben Shapiro, whether it's even like a Jordan Peterson, who when this stuff all happened, he's talking about give them hell. Whether it's an Officer Tatum talking about turn it into a parking lot. The people are looking at this, and the fact that the people on the Ben Shapiro side think that they're sounding logical is pretty wild. And it just more so speaks, in my opinion, to the entitlement that we've always allowed them to have. So that's all I got. That's all I got. All right, let's wrap it up. We're already at 10 o'clock. Y'all know what we do. Like. Let's get as many people in here as possible so we can do our sound bowl, meditation, manifesting, breath work, whatever it is that you want to call it, all in one. Let me bring up the sound bowls. We're going to go through our box breathing. So 4-second inhale in which we're feeling the positive energy entering our system, our mind, body, soul. 4-second hold, then a 4-second exhale, getting rid of all that negative energy. 4-second hold. That's one complete cycle. We're going to go through it 4 times. So let me try to play this a little low in the back. If you're in a safe place, feel free to close your eyes. This is the most important part of the show. We talk about these heavy topics. We gotta balance it out a little bit. Let's start with our 4-second inhale. Eyes closed. Ready, begin. Hold. Exhale. Hold. Inhale. Exhale. Hold. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Hold. All right, on this next inhale, we're going to really get a good amount of energy to get ready to release that last thing. Inhale. Hold. and all that last minute negative energy built, leaving your body anything limiting you from maximizing your potential. Release it now. Hold. Grab your ears. Hold. I'm just messing with you, bro.
Yeah, you got me on that one. I was like, this might be a new joint.
He's questioning like, do I?
Yeah, I was like, yo, this might be a new joint he ran.
Oh, man, I really enjoy this. Shout out to you, BK. Shout out to you, BK. And for
Appreciate it.
everybody, just so y'all know, our prep is done in a little bit of a different way than y'all may anticipate. These are conversations that we go back and forth with in real life and things that we're interested in. And hopefully it's coming across to y'all that way. We just jump on and have a conversation. There's no talk. Well, what are you going to say about this? What are you going to say about this? It's like, yo, y'all want to talk about these things? All right, shoot me the video. Y'all saw it. We didn't even look at the videos, and we come on here and just, look at it, process it with y'all. We get our first reaction. We don't have to formulate our thoughts to make the most politically correct response, but just having a conversation with y'all. So we're appreciative for y'all for giving, us that grace. And a shout out to you, BK. I'm sure the people will agree. You got a special talent, so you're gonna have to share this with the world, man. We need
for sure.
Fight against Ben Shapiro, Big Ben.
Big Ben, he got to stand on the business, man. That's all we said. Just make sure you stand on it, man. Let's
Man,
have the convo.
You want to finish this off with anything before I?
Yeah, I mean, this was to me even a better episode than last. I think we really finding these conversations, but it's always pleasant when you have such a great following that is, I won't even say following, but just great members, part of the OG community that are willing to communicate and take the time, whether or not they're driving to work or whether or not they're cooking breakfast, and throw this on, and to be active in the comment section makes this so much more exciting than I could have ever imagined. So I look forward to continuing to be the other black guy in the left corner of these conversations. These people are great, but the topics that we're talking about, like, it's very important. I think it is important that we do have this transparency, this opportunity to spread the truth, and whether or not it's ideal, whether or not it goes with what the mission may be, or the initiative, or what people think. We're here to have the conversation and to have a public conversation, a public debate. We're not here to have these conversations in private. See, like you said, we're not preparing for these. We want you guys to hear and see what two people who are not a gang affiliated with either politics, or we're not lost in we're not tied to anything, but we're going to have the transparent conversations that maybe all aren't willing to have. And I think it sheds a lot of light from a lot of people, regardless of age, regardless of where you're located. I'm seeing people chime in from different parts of the world, different religion, different sexes. And I think people are looking for communities within their environment to have these talks. And maybe that's difficult. So we're using and leveraging social media for what it should be, which is to spread the truth, not to spread hate. We're going to respond with just as much ignorance that Ben Shapiro and the other individuals have. We're going to spread the awareness, the transparency, and the truth with just as much equal friction. So we cool with the shit they talking. Just know that we're willing to stand on the beliefs in these conversations ourselves also. And they're going to have to stand on whatever they're saying, just like we're willing to stand on what we say. And so fire's got to meet ice at some point in time. And I think that's exactly what these conversations allow us to do. And this is very, very, very therapeutic, I believe, from both me and Dak as well. These conversations are amazing to have. They get a lot off of our chest. I feel like I'm starting the day off with a nice cup of coffee when I have these conversations this early in the morning, and I'm sure it benefits the other people. So continue to follow, continue to like, subscribe, continue to share with other people, individuals. We want to grow these community. We want to grow the awareness, and attack the day.
I love it, bro. I love it. The feedback, this is therapeutic, and we hope that this is therapy for everybody. Like these type of combos, not having to hold this stuff in, just being able to have real opinions and be able to have a safe space to talk about it. You know, we talk about safe spaces, but, you know, just something where you could just, you know, have your opinion, stand on it, maybe change your mind about something, you know, have the opportunity to do all of those things, and also have the opportunity to call out certain bad behavior when we see it in front of us. So appreciate you, bro. Hold up, man. Shout out to Conjure Up, man.
Shout out to Conjure Up.
Like the vid, guys. I enjoyed you all, man. Wow.
Yeah. Feeling is mutual.
Wow. This is dope, man. This is dope. Wow. Thank you. Sincerely. Thank you for that. We really appreciate it. And we hope that everybody continues to tap in with us. Let's see what Big Bro Steve left us off with. Irreverence is the champion of liberty and its only sure defense. No love for political parties. Yo, Steve, man, we got to get Steve on here. We got to talk to get Steve on.
For sure.
He got me. I gotta look up some of these words. I gotta look up reverence. I gotta look that up, which I will. Matter of fact, hold on. I like to look stuff up as
Thank you, Thin74. Appreciate that. I think he sent me a mad props, BK. Appreciate that.
I love that.
Yeah, thank you.
So irreverence is a lack of respect for people or things that are generally taken seriously. Okay. All right, I'm putting it together. I just had to make sure. Irreverence is the champion of liberty and its only sure defense. No love for political parties. Yeah. Let's not get into the gang stuff, man. Let's not get into that gang stuff. All right. So y'all know what we come here to do, man. Elevate on purpose, both from an intentional standpoint, raising our standards to become the leaders that we need now more than ever, and to grow into the people that can feel confident going into these challenges, and having these audacious goals that we set for ourselves. You know, let's put in the work. You know, let's put in the work. Let's become as disciplined as we can. Let's grow. Let's love each other. Let's keep the main thing the main thing. That's what I always hear BK saying. That's going to be family. That's going to be truth. That's going to be, you know, our purpose. So as we're going in this journey, let's make sure that we're staying focused on that. Strength and honor, onward and upward. Y'all know what it is when I say get to that bag. Not just about money. May not be about money at all, but all the things that are going to accumulate into what's going to become our impact on this world that we like to call our personal legend. You got to figure out what's in your bag, what's going to serve as your compass, your map quest, your directions in life, and what's going to serve as your guardrails to make sure that you're staying on par with your morals, principles, and values. So the things I like to focus on: peace, love, happiness, health, wealth, and in everything we do, integrity. And of course, got to add that balance on there. BK, take us out. You put them on line like, yo, you gonna finish that? Nah, yo, appreciate y'all. We'll see y'all tomorrow at 8 a.m.
All right.
And if y'all want any videos, so we're gonna look at, shout out to Critical. We'll look at those videos on John Dulles. Maybe send it in the Discord. I should actually, matter of fact, hey, if you got the Discord handy, put it in the chat, Critical, and everybody can follow the Discord, because we'll have a lot of those off, we can't talk about it on here just because of time things and things throughout the day you want to throw in the chat, different things that we can speak about on the show.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Feel free to throw it in there. So even if you put the link in after we already head out, and still appreciate it, because people could tap the comment and check it out. But on that note, we'll see y'all tomorrow at 8 a.m. Finn wrote the one love. Hold on. Conjure Up wrote the Discord. Hold on. Let me find the Discord. Hold on. I don't want to leave y'all hanging like that. Let me see if I can
throw the Discord up.
I got the link right here. Hold on. I'm just not as familiar with these, so it's a little bit. Invite members. Copy link. All right. I guess it's not that difficult. Wasn't hard at all. All right. There's the Discord link. Tap in with us. Let's build. Purpose over pleasure. Get it done. And Quee sent the fire emojis. Y'all know what that means. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Click that Discord. Click like on your way out. And we'll see y'all soon. Evening.